Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here. Today is the Zexal release day, and Rye, you tell me, buddy. I don't know. I'm gonna check the records, but were we the first ones holding a tournament today with the new cards and the new ban list?
We were so fast and so early that some people they didn't even have their seventh extra X slot unlocked yet. Some people didn't have their farm cards yet. There were people
Man,
missing Tellarknight cards, but people had fun, and that's what's important.
they had to be like us and get up. It was 2:30 my time. I
Not
was
get
like,
staggered, all
yep, I was
that.
sitting there clicking to get in at 2:30, and I got in right away. It was great, man.
Yeah,
That's
there you go.
that's the dedication you need
I
to
think
be
I think there's
have.
something
All
with the
right.
phones because I woke up to watch you guys stream for a little bit. I opened my phone and I got in right away, and people were complaining about stagger. I think if you go through your phone, you're totally
I
fine.
was on my PC and I got right in. I think I tried like 3 times and I was in. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
It's weird.
So there is a lot of hype around this tournament today. I mean, a lot of hype. Our
Hmm.
viewership was through the roof. So thank you to everybody that showed up for that. That was great. But I think there was a lot of things that people wanted to see. There was effect damage change, a skill change, archetypes, the deck slot, the seventh deck slot. I'm sorry, and then the XZ's monsters themselves, the new deck. So I mean, there's a lot to cover here.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so where do you want to start unpacking this thing?
I guess we could start with new archetypes because
Okay.
that's kind of like in the forefront of everyone's mind.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bujins and Tellarknights. Those are the two. I mean, there was some other stuff released, but none of it's really complete. Those two, we've gotten a lot of the cards. There's
Hmm.
the only ones we haven't gotten are the really broken cards.
Yep.
So everyone, I could tell everyone's on that Tellarknight hype. They want
They
Tellarknights to
want this
work.
deck to work.
They
Damn
want it
it.
to work.
Because it's
Um,
all in the box. You don't have to go back, right? With like
yeah,
Bujins, you got to go
pretty
back.
much, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a brand new archetype. It's not an older one. Now they're okay. They're at that press. They're at that point where it's like if we get good generic XCs, I could see them kind of going through the roof because they do spam monsters like crazy,
Hmm.
and their counter trap is absolutely ridiculous since we've seen in us testing on Omega,
Oh, I hated that
and
thing. Yeah, that thing's terrible.
and the power of Skybridge. One of the characters, one of the level up rewards is Skybridge, and we can get that at 3 copies,
Right.
which is a ridiculous card. Quick play lets them summon whatever they want, consistency through the roof. If we get more good generic rank fours, Teller Knights will just continuously get better as we get more of them.
So this might
Uh,
be a long-term investment. So a lot of people want to know right away,
Maybe,
is the
yeah.
box doo-doo? Do I go into it? Is it going to be OP right now? This might be a
Yeah.
longer-term investment.
It definitely feels more like how when original Blackwings came out,
Hmm.
and everyone knew that Blackwings were a good deck, but not right now because they just didn't release anything
And then a
for them to
year
go into.
later,
And then a year later, Blackwings, they came into the meta and they have not left since
right, right.
then. And they're like, hey guys, if you give us any support, we'll be tier 0.
Yeah,
So let's just keep nerfing everything into the ground until eventually it's unplayable. So
right.
that's kind of where Teller Knights feel right now. I would not be surprised if it comes, even if it's not a Teller Knight specific card, even if it's
Mhm.
a generic card that they turbo out faster than everyone else, and when they're not turboing it, they just use their counter trap and stuff like that. I
Is it a
could see them being.
matter of them turboing something, or is it what they're going into? Is it boss monsters aren't that great, or is it
Yeah,
just
it's just the monsters are not that amazing, right? They're
mhm,
the best one they have takes 3 materials, and it's
that's
only
costly?
2,500, and its effect is it gets to target and pop 1 card on the board, which is a good effect. And it can dodge, like whenever you normal summon a monster, your opponent can't activate anything, which
But
is
it'll
nice. You
get to
dodge
do that three
20.
times, right? Because it's detaching one material each time, so
Right,
it
but
can do
it's
it three
still
times.
only once per turn, and with only
Right,
2,500 body, if it just gets swung into, right? And of course,
right.
the downfall of all counter traps, if you don't actually activate anything, you just swing in with a monster that's stronger, boop, you're gone.
Well, even in
So
just playing PVE, you XYZ summon, and then
mhm,
the computer can pop you, and it's just like, ah, I just lost my boss
yeah.
monster. That
So
simple.
yeah. So, taking into factor people have not optimized it yet, and people have not It's still in the works, right?
Right.
Yeah, people still have to go farm their sky bridges. Most people only had 2. I don't know if 3 is going to be the way to run it. And there's still a lot to kind of optimize here. It might end up still being okay enough to be in the meta, but I think ultimately it's going to be something that we wait for. This is all hot takes, by the way. This is just what I've seen today. Tellarknights, they got to top 32, and then they got destroyed in top 32. So
All right, I'm
we'll
gonna
see.
move you along right now to Bujins because they're on the screen right now. They're taking on Ritual Beasts. So if you want to get
Yeah.
into Bujins a little bit.
Bujins are very interesting, and there's so many different builds that I've seen. I think right now we may even see more immediate success from Bujins. So they have a Susano. I've been calling it Susan Uo for people for the hilarious card. But basically, it has a Purgatrio-like effect where it can swing on every single monster at least once on your opponent's side of the board.
Hmm.
What's interesting with that is you can act its detach ability is it lets it search one of anything in the archetype and either send it to the graveyard or add it to your hand. So you can, for example,
Oh,
add
nice.
Crane to the hand to attack it over anything. You can, if you already have Crane, you can send one of your Bujins to the graveyard and activate there. There's one that lets you gain the attack of a
Right.
monster as well. So there was a situation where it was against Ritual Beast. Actually, he swung into Winda. Winda summons a Winda, swing into Winda again. Winda summons Petalfin, swing into the Petalfin, activate your Crane. Ritual Beasts have no cards left because they keep getting swung into. The only difference
Okay.
is you don't do piercing damage, right?
Right.
So that's very, very powerful. And they don't get bodied by bigger bodies because they make themselves bigger. Um, the it's still kind of to be determined if they'll be really, really good, but they did put up better results today, and they looked better in general than Tellarknights.
Okay.
So we'll kind of have to see how they end up forming. They are very consistent, and there's different builds you can go with it, and it doesn't seem kind of bricky. And it's not trap central. You don't have to play 1,000 trap cards. You just play your archetype, and your archetype kind of is really good.
Right. I think this is a tough one though because this is the one that you're gonna have to go into two old boxes, especially if you want
Yeah,
the
so it's
Crane.
not
Yeah.
a deck I recommend investing in. Wait until people fully test it,
Yep.
and then we'll talk about investing into it.
Well, just in general, we're talking about this archetype, but also just the XYZs that we got in this box, kind of like the decks that we got in this box. They're good, but they're not great. They're not like necessarily
Yeah,
worth even going into
right.
some of the times.
There's no, this is Purgatrio, this is Casitas, this is the ultimate fusion monster. There's
Right.
no ultimate Xyz monster. It's just kind of like, oh hey, that's cool. We did see some rather cool things, innovative things that we may see kind of have impact later on. For example, I don't know if you remember the Neos connector card,
Yeah. Yeah.
where you summon it and then it brings a Neospatian.
Hmm.
So there was this really, really cool play. The player ended up going 0-2 and he didn't go anywhere, but everyone that saw it, like you could tell, even -1 was in the chat looking at it. It's like, wow, I need to go take a look this in depth because
What
this is
just
kind of
happened,
cool.
huh?
So
Yeah.
basically you play the connector, he
Hmm.
brought out the glow moss, activates level duplication, turns the glow moss into a level 4. That connector just became a 1-card Xyz into anything. As
Right.
long as he has a
Yeah.
monster in
Okay.
hand to make it level 4.
But yeah,
So
what
that
are
was
you going
super
into?
cool.
Utopia? You know?
Exactly. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well now you made a utopia. But that was cool. But what does that make?
Right,
you know?
exactly. Or it makes what the
So
samurai, which isn't that great, or the
exactly,
cowboy, which is a
exactly.
kind of
So
a cheese play.
imagine Shiranui, but when you go for your level augmentation, you can't make a Shogun Saga, you can't make Samurai Saga. You
Right.
can't make any of the good ones. You can only make the bad Shiranui synchros. That's kind of where I feel like we're at right now.
I mean,
Uh,
Utopia is cool. It's 2,500 attack, and it can negate attack, but that's just not enough when you're playing against like a synchro deck that
yeah.
can pop. You know?
Exactly. Some other cheeky plays we saw today. The Gaga Samurai, the one that's 1900 and
Yeah,
can
yeah,
swing twice. Megalith, the one that boosts everybody's attack.
yeah. I saw
So
this one.
he
Yeah.
brought him out. He had like almost 4,000 attack, and he could swing twice, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" So that
But
was
he ended up
cool.
losing that one though, didn't he?
He did end up losing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's Megaliths have, we talked about it, a huge weakness to getting their back row removed.
Yeah.
So kind of hard when Trimid pulse. Trimids have been looking really nice. Crystron's look insane with an extra deck slot. 7 extra deck
Yeah.
Crystrons
I was just gonna
are
ask you about that. Yeah.
extreme, even more grindy than before. This guy was playing in the Ice Barrier level 7 Synchro card.
Okay.
He's basically Bryonic. He's the same effect where you discard and then you bounce, but instead of bouncing, you destroy.
Oh, okay.
So now Crystrons are playing Bryonic, Coral, and
Oh, they're just
and
ready to pop.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they're ready to pop like crazy. It did win battle phase today. I don't know. Crystron's look kind of really, really good. The one extra deck space giving them so much flexibility
Right.
in a deck that's kind of been strangled because of the ban list. So
I
that
was
was
going to
cool.
ask
I
you
like it.
about the extra deck slot. And obviously, it sounds like Crystron's is probably one of the decks that
Mhm.
benefits the most from it. Is there another deck that really seemed to benefit from it?
Heroes. Heroes
Heroes,
actually.
really? How come?
Because you know how before you had to kind of choose double Anki versus the form change onto the Anki. You don't have to do it. You just play 3 Anki, you play your blast, you play whatever heroes you want. You'll have the
Trinity,
space for it.
whatever. Yeah.
Trinity,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's
Okay.
no more, they're not really fighting for space anymore. They can play their 3 Anki comfortably. So that's really helped them out. They made it to top 4. No, they made the finals actually today. They made it to the finals, if I'm not mistaken. So they're looking really nice. And of course, with Witchcrafters getting hit, Witchcrafters severely suffering in these past 2 tournaments. We already knew how Witchcrafters, they've actually been in 2 tournaments now, Banless tournament and Zexal tournament, and they are not looking very good. And people are still saying, oh, give us some more time. We're just optimizing and we can't play Show of Nightmares. So maybe when we get that, we can figure something out. But even
Meg
today,
One is making charts and graphs. If you've seen his stream, he's
yeah,
making charts and graphs on that deck.
we'll see. I don't
We'll
know. It's
see.
like, for example, Karakuri was another deck that people were like, no. The true viability of Karakuri is because of restart. We can't play restart. And I'm like, but restart, you have to play 7 traps, 7 spells. So you're gonna play 6 monsters? Like, yes, that's how we're gonna bring back Karakuri. I was like, okay,
Good luck.
restart's no longer banned. No one played it. Karakuri did not do that well.
Right.
I think there was one in the top cut or something like that.
Hmm.
And it's just like maybe it was just a True Nade deck and True Nade's gone. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's brutal because so many people saw Karakuri as the new hotness, and a month later, it's not the new hotness.
I mean, yeah. Again, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
All the meta decks, they're better when everything settles and there's not so much craziness, chaos going around. You can better side deck. Speaking of the side deck, one of the cards that has been amazing, DD
Did
Crow.
it? Okay, I have like 7 of those. If you guys saw the pack opening video, can
Yeah,
I
that
play all
card.
7? Can I put them in my side deck? What do I do with them?
You should main deck 3 and side deck the other 3, and then the last one you just rip it up like Kaiba did in the
Oh
anime.
no,
So
no,
no one else can
no.
use it against you.
So what we see happen, or who was using it, and how were they using it?
It was effective basically against every deck.
Okay.
So against Shiranui, he went to go use a Spectral Sword in the graveyard, banish, it's gone. Against Trimids, they tried to set up for a Trimid Pulse, use it, banish literally any material, not enough for Pulse anymore. Can't pulse me for another turn. We've seen it played on Alistair. You send the invocation to the grave, bam, that invocation is gone. DD Crow's power is it doesn't just banish monsters or spells, or it can banish any card for just discarding it. And that is a
Right.
very, very powerful effect when you can literally just pick and choose whatever you want to, get out of the grave. We saw it, a Blue Eyes player, Card of Constance, send the stone to the graveyard, DD Crow, that stone's gone. You can't use its
Right.
effect.
That's great.
Um,
You think
there's
we're
just
gonna start seeing
so
every
many.
deck run that? Like it used to be, you'd see enemy controller in every deck. You'd see Sphere
Uh,
Creole back in the day in every deck. Are we gonna start seeing like 2 of DD Crow?
Maybe. You remember how when Lancia came out and then everyone's like, oh man, everyone's so hyped for Lancia, but now it's like gone. Like
Right.
I only see it in side decks. I believe DD Crow is one of the hand traps that you can actually main deck and it'll have impact and be good.
Would you
I
play
don't know if that's
one and then side one, or would you play 2?
I've been seeing people play 2,
Hmm.
but it depends on what deck it is. Honestly,
Right.
it just depends on how many
If you
slots
got
you
the
have
room or
to
not.
play it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and how
Okay.
good your deck is good at dealing with back row innately. Because if you can't deal with back row, obviously you need Cosmic Cyclone and your own back row to grind out back row. But we'll see. But so far, it's definitely been we've seen a lot of Fiendish Shade and a lot of DD Crow, and it's been popping off. So very excited to see that card really make an impact in the meta.
Now you brought up restart as one of the skills that was we didn't really see a lot of people using. Were there other skills that got changed that we saw that we were able to implement? Like obviously Shadow Game we couldn't do anything about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the only ones like Switcheroo and stuff like that, and those are just dead.
Yeah, just
1500
mhm.
is really too hard.
And that's
Um,
hard to enforce in a tournament too.
it's hard to. I mean, it's up to your opponent, right? If your
Right.
opponent sees you and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" But it's just more. Just 1500 is such an awkward number. It's not perfect cosmic range anymore. It's gonna probably take 2 cards or 2 turns to actually activate, and even then, it's once per duel.
Right.
So it's just hard to use.
Hmm.
Um, So and everything else is basically banned because it's just been changed at a core level that we can't enforce it or use it at all. And I talked with Twitch chat a lot. Like, for example, Shadow Game. Shadow Game is not a good skill anymore, but some of these decks may still play it just because they really don't have a way to grind games out. They're great at stalling, but then what do you do after you stall? And when you look at Shadow Game in the past, there were plenty of times where your opponent plays more passively to avoid the Shadow Games. They're only burning 200, 300, 400 damage a turn anyway. So, maybe things like Stromberg, maybe things like Ritual Beast, they might just end up continue playing it, even though it's not that great.
Well, a lot of times when you're doing that though, you're slowing down your own strategy, and then you're kind of losing because of that. You're afraid to put cards in your grave, so you're not playing like you normally would. So you only burn it for 300 or 400, but still.
Yeah, the only difference is you can't go under 1,000, which
right.
is great for the user as well. So,
but then how do you kill your opponent if you're so used to him using? Winning with Shadow
Golem, dude. You bring him down to 1,000, Lava Golem, wait 2 turns, you win.
There you go. There's still hope.
There's still hope. So I don't know. It is a nerf skill, and it's really not that great of a skill anymore. But it kind of talks to the state of these decks where they don't have a win condition. That even in its nerf state, it's still the preferred win condition.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see if people continue to use it.
All right. So here's the question on everybody's mind, at least on mine. Where are we at? Element Sabers, Invoked Neos, Invoked whatever, Invoked Magician Girls, Invoked blah, blah, blah. Where are we at?
I don't know. People have been talking about this Invoked list that's going around, but I haven't seen it in battle phase yet, so I don't want to pass judgment on that. Element Sabers is dead.
Okay.
Element Sabers cannot play the game anymore. I've seen people try it. 1 Palace, 2 Palace, 1 Alistair, 2 Alistair.
Yeah, you need 3 of each.
They just are not winning games. They're just not winning games. I'm watching them lose or install and lose. Just all they can do is stall and lose. Berry Girls are looking actually kind of nice. They did make it. They topped. I think they got to top 16. It's just they're so easy to make. It's just easy to make the materials with that. There was a lot of Shiranui played the past couple days, and with so much Shiranui, Purgatrio is just easy to summon. But overall, I've just kind of watched Invoked kind of stall and
Invoked Roids, maybe?
Well, I did see Invoked Roids, but that was out by top 32, I believe. I don't know. It feels kind of like when Lightsworn Dark Lords became a thing, and people looked at it and said, "Yeah, it works." And then Fiendish came out, and people were like, "It still works a little bit," and then it just slowly phased out because people realized
they're just resuscitating a dead body at this point.
Yeah, like it's just I'd rather go play something else and win faster because I don't like sure megaliths can also win, but that doesn't mean you should play them,
right?
So we'll have to see kind of how. I haven't seen that Invoked Neos deck that people are talking about. Maybe it's a list people are saving for later. I don't know, but as of right now, I am not very confident in any Alistair deck. That being said, Alistair is a sneaky little guy. He can fit into a lot of decks. It's literally a 2-card engine, and then he takes your whole extra deck, and he's like a parasite. So I would not be surprised between now and the end of the year there will be another meta Alistair deck. And maybe that's before even like this month is done. You feel me? So we'll see.
Predictions.
We'll see.
I feel like it almost gives like a second meaning to that meme where it's like, stop, he's already dead. Not that someone's kicking Alistair while he's down. It's like, no, it's already dead. Just stop. Yeah. You're embarrassing yourself at this point.
Alistair himself, he just, if you're able to provide the materials, he can pop off and just give your deck ridiculous cards. So,
but Element Sabers, they need the Palace. They do.
Yeah, to consistently make the fusions to finish the game off. They do need the Palace. Yeah.
So overall, it wasn't a bad tournament. You said Chris Strons ended up winning the whole thing. From what I saw, we had some new stuff. But overall, it didn't have an amazing impact. But right now, it's really hard to tell because you said, everything's just shifting. We don't know where anything goes right now. So it's really hard to make a judgment. But I think we can say right now that nothing's overpowered. Nothing's just like dominating.
Nothing feels that way. And everyone's confused. No one knows what's good. If someone comes up to you and says, this is the best deck in the format, they probably have no idea what they're talking about.
Right.
So I would wait. If you guys want, we'll have another video. We're probably gonna have a video after every tournament we do. At the end of this week, basically on Sunday night, we will know we'll have a better picture of what the
Yep.
meta looks like.
Because today is what, Tuesday? I forgot what day it is because we were up
Yeah.
all night, but it's Tuesday. So we got
Tuesday.
EU coming up. So that's on Wednesday. We got Battle Phase Friday. We got a pop up on Saturday, and then
The patch hasn't even been out for 24 hours yet.
right,
So,
and then we got a Sunday tournament.
Good, you know, and no one will know because at most you'll be practicing with 1, 2, maybe a group of people, 10 people max. But going through a 200-person tournament, that is what's good. That rigorous amount of dueling, 8 hours of playing, that's going to show you how good a deck is. So we have plenty of those. By the end of the week, you'll know. So save your money, save your gems. Don't spend right away. There's no tier 0 right now. At least nothing discovered, and I doubt there's going to be one. Just continue waiting.
Yeah, because we got 4 tournaments. Obviously, there's other organizers in the community, so there's at least gonna be another 3 or 4 with them. So there's gonna be plenty of data, which we'll be looking at in the power rankings. So make sure to check that out. But we'll have all that by next week, and then you can start making your decisions if you don't want to spend money or if you want to save your gems. So just be patient. All right, with that, we're gonna get out of here. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, you guys know what to do at this point. I don't got to tell you. But what I do want to encourage you to do is get in our Discord, because that's where we hold all our tournaments. And you can talk to people about all the new hotness.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to get out of here. I'm Circus. That's Rye.
Farewell.
See ya.